Hey, how's it going, y'all? This is Jose Ortiz back at it again. We are doing graphic design for U Media on YouTube. Thank you guys for checking back in. If you are coming back, if you're watching the first time, welcome. Hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe. We got a lot of great content coming out for you guys. And I just want to say happy Monday. Today, what I thought we would do is just go over a simple poster design. And I'm going to open up my InDesign. And while that opens, I'll just say a couple things. So I think poster design is, a very fun and fast way to get into design if you're looking to get your feet wet with certain things. It's a great format to practice different typographic elements. It's a widely used format, and you'll find a lot of printers that can print out your stuff, hang them up, sell them. There's a lot of places online, like marketplaces, where you can upload your images and sell it. So I often look at posters like when I go through different cities, urban areas. New York is a big one, and you see a lot of them like wheat pasted or posted on like construction sites and things like that. And there's always a very unique air about them, I would say. So I very much do enjoy looking at posters and making them as well. So here we are in InDesign. If you look at one of my last videos, we went over how to make a baseline. I'll be doing that with you guys today really quickly. I won't be going as in-depth. It's fairly quick and simple anyways, but be sure to check out my other video on that. So for now, I'm just going to start File New, Document, and 11 by 17 is your standard poster size. It's like it's more tabloid size, so it's a small poster. But that's fine for our uses for now. If you wanted to get an idea of the proportions of the document, you would just hit Preview in the bottom right hand corner. You drag this window to the side. Now you get a basic preview of what your document is going to look like after continuing on from the screen. One important cool thing that's nice to note is that you can always change your margins and the side over here, and they will live adjust when you have preview selected. For our purposes today, 0.5 inches of margin is great. It's just fine. I'm not going to worry about columns or gutter because I'm going to actually adjust some of those settings myself when we get started. Bleed, we won't need a bleed for now, just because I don't anticipate having any images that go the full length of the page. We can do it just for demonstration purposes. So we selected a bleed, say, of 0.5 inches. This red line, which is our bleed line, is telling us if you have any images that are going towards the edge of the document, words, typography, big things, you want to stretch them out. You want to basically bring them out past the document to this red line. And that's going to basically help you account for any trimming error in the printing process. There's always a slight margin of error, so it's always good practice to set a bleed in professional printing applications and use it accordingly. Like I said, for our demonstration purposes, we won't really be doing too much for bleeds, but I'll leave it just as a good practice. Alrighty, and that's about it. The slug, you can think of it like a bleed. It's just another area typically where printers put important information. So if you look, actually, let me bring it back down to 0. If you look at the paper clip, it's broken, which means you're just working on one setting. If you click it again, it's together, which means any adjustment you make to one of these, it goes to all of them. So I'll just select it so you can see the slug is this blue line right here. We definitely won't need a slug for this. The slug is a useful area for you to put some printer specific information, instructions, any specific instructions on, puncture holes, binding, trimming, collating, document file name, so that when they print it, they know what page is what, anything, author, anything that you think would go there. It won't show up in the final cut of the document. So if you send this to go print and they print it, they're gonna end up trimming out the bleed and the slug as well. So like I said, we won't really need too much for that. So we're gonna leave those zeros. Margins are fine. Columns we'll adjust later. We definitely want this to start at page 1. We're not doing a book, so this doesn't really matter that much. Pages is how many of these documents you want to start out with. So if we're doing multiple iterations, we'll basically make more pages as we go. But for now, we'll just use one, because when the time comes, we will duplicate and make more pages when we need to. So there you have it. Those are my basic settings for starting a poster design for a tabloid format. And I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And it just basically jumps you right into the screen. So a couple things before we get started. We want to be able to see the baseline. That way when we're aligning text and setting our typography, there are the lines there that we can tell what they are. I'm going to try to zoom in here, and as you can tell, there are no baselines set on this document, or they're just not showing. So we're going to go to view, grids and guides, and if you could see, there's no check mark next to show baseline grid. This basically means there's no baseline that's showing. So if we click this, we're going to get a baseline after a certain percentage of zoom. So the threshold is about 75. Basically means if you zoom in 75%, you'll see the baseline. We don't want that. It's not that practical for us. So we'll be adjusting some of these things. I'm gonna make sure that I am on. I'm gonna make sure that I'm just on the regular page. So there's masters up here, and then there's regular pages. A master basically is, you can think of it like a template for other pages. But whatever you do to the master applies to all pages that are selected to correspond to the master. So if you look at this page here, page 2, see this little A on top? If you hover over it, says A master applied. It basically means whatever you have on your master A, it will be applied to this one. You can make different masters, so just right click, new master, go through some of the options. That's probably best for another video, so I won't go into too in depth for that. For now, all you need to know is we're basically going to be making page 2 our master, and we will adjust accordingly. So I want to get my baseline set, because that's the fundamental measurement for typography in any document. So I'm going to go over to InDesign, Preferences, and I'm going to go down to Grids. And when you go to grids, you'll see a couple different settings. For now, we're just going to pay attention to baseline grid. So this section right here, I'll leave the color alone because I don't mind it. But if you, if you have like colorblind issues, or there's certain colors that stand out more for you, feel free to pick. There's even a custom option at the bottom. We'll be starting our baselines pretty much at the beginning of the top of the page. So we'll just set this to 0. And we're going to say relative to the top of the page, not the margin. The next measurement is the increment every. And the increment every is basically the leading. So hold on really quickly. And I went over this more in my other video, but all you need to know is that the spaces between the baseline are referred to as the leading, and you want this number to be the most smallest basic leading that you will use in your document. And basically everything else is based off this number in multiples of. For now, we can make this we could make it 11 to be 11 point, but honestly, I'm just gonna make it. I'm just gonna leave it at 12, and I say that because, 12 is the basic size used for a lot of different applications, even in InDesign. The font size and leading size works in 12s. So because I want to get to the design of the poster, I don't want to focus on this too much. I'm just gonna leave it at 12. It's a fine number, and we can make great design with it. As you get more comfortable with these settings and experimenting on your own time, you'll get a feel for how that number can be adjusted to fit your needs. For now, we're going to move on to the view threshold, and I just want to set this to 50. I could even set it to 25, just because I personally like to see my baseline all the time. And I like to check grids in back. That just means that the baseline will show no matter what you put on top of it. So if there's an image that you want to place in here, usually it will cover your grid lines, but I like to see them all the time, so I leave it on. And that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna hit OK, and as you can tell right away, our baseline's popped up because our view threshold is at 25% and we are already at 50. But if we were to zoom out and zoom out, less than 25%, it would disappear. So right there, this is 25% and this is 24. So if I wanted to see my design without any baselines or anything, I would just zoom it out right here, get an idea of what's going on, and then I can zoom back in. So this is the basic setup that we're going to be working with, and I figured what would be really helpful is if we sort of reverse engineer some posters, and I think that's going to be my recurring series with you guys. Primarily because although I think it's interesting to make posters, and let's be real, this is another way of making a poster. I'm pretty sure you'll share this, but like I find it interesting to look at other people's posters, right, and wonder how they did what they did. So this is basically a practice. This is like your design practice, right? So we'll find some posters and we'll try to recreate it, change up a couple things. But basically it's to get a feel for how the designer came to their design. So for this, I have a resource I want to share with you guys. It's a website and it's called typographicposters.com, and I'm going to show it to you now. So I'm going to start a new page, and I don't need to type that much because it's in my history. Excuse me. But it's just called typographicposters.com, as you can see at the top. And I really like this website because it has a couple different filters for searching. As you can already tell, Featured countries: Poland. They have posters broken down by color, by country, studio. So it really helps to actually get a good feel for what's going on in different areas of the world, so that you can keep up with and adjust your craft. For now, I thought that I would focus with you guys on just making a black and white poster. Once you start getting down some of these fundamentals, personally, I think you could move on to color, but because color tends to add another variable to design, personally, I tend to stray away from it up until I know that it's something that I can do, that I'm comfortable with. So, yeah. Alrighty. I want to get. There we go. So first thing to note, they did a redesign. I'm still learning it myself, but this seems to be a collection put together by this person. I guess there's more collections you could look at. Oh, I see. You can create your own collection. This is the archive. Nice. Okay. If you hit this button, then is when you can search by all these different colors. You could type in something there. You could even select one of these tags. For now, I'm gonna go back and I just want to look at this collection. I don't want to browse too long. I just want to get on something and kind of settle. So some of these may seem kind of simple, but they might not be if you are paying attention to the underlying structure. Even this poster right here, it's a well thought out poster. So the proportions are nice. The negative space corresponds to the shape. We're just looking for posters. This one's really cool. I'm trying to pick one that's actually like, I don't want to go too deep into the rabbit hole with you guys. I think we'll start to, as we get comfortable with the series, we'll definitely take on some of these more intricate designs. But for right now, honestly, I think I might just go with this one. Rise Up. Yeah. Yeah. Um, it could be between this one. I'm gonna open that in a new tab, and I'm gonna open up this one in a new tab. The reason why I like this one is because um, it's pure design. I think in a big way, it's very beautifully set typography, and then there's this very visceral image. It's literally almost a perfect circle, and then towards the bottom, you get 4 drips, and the accentuation of the drips um, just really brings out the design. And I love the white space towards the bottom. The really concentric circle at the top just makes this very geometric, almost Swiss style. And we'll be going over some of those things in the series. Let's take a look at the other poster. This is a poster, I guess, for that was made for Ciroc. by Juan Carlos Pagan, and you can see his profile. But the reason why I think I might want to do this is because, in a way, it's very simple, but it's something that maybe you guys might be interested in. So this is a basic uh, sort of typographic treatment. So the word rise is coming down vertically and it's stretched horizontally. And it's masked over an image of somebody pointing up. Um, and it's supposed to be referencing the phrase rise up. And if you look very closely in the image, there's a shadow right along the hand that's giving this an almost 3D effect. And that's really helpful in design because 3D is a very big trend right now, and it's something that's not going away. I feel with all the technology and innovation. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick a phrase, and we'll find an image that corresponds to that phrase. And then what we'll do is we'll make a typographic treatment, sort of like rises on here, and we will mask it over an image selectively. Um, so that's what we'll do in just a second. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if I can pause the stream so that we can take a quick break. Quick break. Yeah, I guess there's no way for me to. I don't see a way to pause the stream, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream, and I'll be back in a few.